I'm Joe. Welcome back to Proudmasculine, where I help men tap into their true masculine potential. Today's topic is going to be about being in a relationship with an insecure person. This is actually a viewer request, so I'm going to read it straight off the email, then I'll follow up with a few critical points about insecurity and what that looks like in a relationship and how it affects both people. So here we get started. For the sake of anonymity, say the guy's name is Chris, even though he's requested it. I don't want to spill all his stuff out there. Here we go. I've been with my wife for a few years. We live in different countries. I'm trying to bring her to Great Britain. She's had one visa rejected. The situation is I work and have to do the basics: shopping, wash my clothes, go to work, and in between these things, I have to be in constant communication with my wife. If I'm a few minutes late calling her back, she panics that I'm losing interest in her or have met someone else. I'm going to pause it right there because there's a certain dynamic that doesn't tell the whole story here, that leaves some things incomplete. I mean, I already see a few major contributors to the possibility of her being insecure. And, one including the distance. They live in a different country. She's had visas rejected. How do we know she's not thinking, what if this never works out? We'll never be together. And is he going to do this? And he's going to move here. Am I ever going to get to see him? Are we going to have to break up? That's one major contributor. Maybe she's projecting these concerns and worries onto him as if he thinks about it the same way she does. And he's saying to himself, well, this isn't never going to work. I'm going to have to cut things off and move on. And so that's one major thing. But for the sake of the video and the potential of a great topic, I'm going to follow through and finish it up. He says, I don't ever get any headspace to myself. I love her dearly. I don't believe in cheating or walking away once you're married. It's a good sign. And here's another thing, another key point. When we are together, we're near perfect. The chemistry is amazing. We get on brilliantly. We do have an age gap of 25 years, but that doesn't seem to affect our relationship. But she is constantly asking if I love her. Am I talking to someone else? Am I losing interest? I appreciate your help and advice in this matter. Warm regards, Chris. All right. There's a lot to take apart here. Ideally, you would see insecurity in a relationship with, people who are in proximity to one another at the very least, if not living together already, where you're battling insecurity. Typically, insecurity crops up because of something that was done in the past. And usually the insecurity applies to whatever situation that happened. Like if you're insecure about something at work, afraid of making a mistake, it's because you've dealt with something shitty that has to do with making a mistake at work. So you carry it over into your job, your career, whatever, and you become a little insecure. Insecurity in a relationship usually stems from past experiences in relationships or the current relationship, to where some insecurity could be a factor. Now, there is a degree of insecurity that exists in naturally insecure people who've had to deal with some traumatic experiences growing up and carry around this natural insecurity like they're not good enough. And have had some pretty traumatic experiences growing up where they don't trust love, they don't trust that they're lovable, or they're worth it, or they're not deserving of an amazing life full of love and connection. That doesn't seem to be the case. In this case, I can't really say much else beyond this particular case is that you're in another country. She's tried to reach you, and it looks like right now it's not working out. It doesn't look like it's going to be like it's going to be a place and time when you are together. Her experiences so far is y'all have this distance between you. She could be missing you like crazy, or having her own experiences where she finds herself drifting and wanting to just maybe rethink things, and she's projecting that onto you. And then the only experience she has is trying to bring the union together, only to be rejected. So she may also be thinking, I wonder if he's thinking, this is too much, we'll just move on. We're already apart. It'll be an easy separation. And because when I read, when we're together, we're near perfect, the chemistry is amazing, and we get on brilliantly, it tells me that when you're together, she doesn't have the same insecurity or the same problem, right? So, and based on the information given, it doesn't sound like that anything's ever happened in the relationship, and I have no background on her or you, to be frank, to say if this carries over from another relationship. But as it applies to this situation about this email, I really can't see how she would not be a little insecure. And the only security she gets is these brief conversations with you when you do get to talk on the phone. And in another country, it's got to be minimum of hundreds of miles apart, potentially thousands, which I really don't know what country she's in. I know you're in the UK. But here are some things that can apply to any relationship where insecurity exists. If you're dealing with a woman who's insecure, underneath it all, there's just an element of reassurance that is being asked for. Is it always the most positive way? No. Is it the healthiest? No. And sometimes these things manifest themselves the way that they do. And it's not always going to be the perfect scenario, but she's going to be able to come clearly articulate what it is she's feeling and why. So it comes out as insecurity. And that's even healthy people deal with insecurity. This is not a stamp that you put on people who are doomed to fail in relationships. Everybody has some insecurity to deal with. And every person that has insecurity, they have insecurities that they don't tell anybody about, that they keep to themselves, that haunt them on some level. And it could be different things that trigger the different intensities, the different levels of this insecurity that they suffer. It could be when you get super stressed and start feeling a little distant and you can't really find any traction to making headway on resolution on a few things that might be stressing you out or seem unresolved, or you just got too many things opened up at one time in life. It can be a bit overwhelming. Your resistance is down because there's so much demand on your time, your energy, your emotions, physically. There's so many things that can play a part in intensifying the level of insecurity that's present. So, but here's just a few things. We're going to keep it simple. And this is to apply. You can apply this in any situation where insecurity crops up. Not saying if, but when it crops up. Somebody's always going to be off about something because it's just impossible for two people in a relationship to be fully 100% present, aware, available, and have the ability to communicate clearly 100% of the time. There's going to be lapses in communication depending on, it could be sleep, it could be work, it could be hobbies. There's so many things that could take you away and distract you to where it appears something is off. It could be a number of things in everyday life that pull you away and could potentially trigger insecurity in the other person. So there's this one strategy that's really good for anything when you're trying to apply problem solving with another person, and that's called the Luca. It's to listen, to understand, clarity, action. Listen, understand, clarity, action. So you're going to listen to the concern, listen to the insecurity. And when she's saying, are you with somebody? Do you still love me? Are you trying to get out of this? Why don't you call me back? What's going on? And what you would do is, the first thing to do is to seek reassurance. Not seek, offer reassurance first. Make it clear that is not what's going on. Of course I love you. No, I'm not trying in any way, shape, or form. I've just been really busy. I haven't had time to get right back to you. I got a lot of things going on. I got all these things I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. And it definitely wasn't intentional to make you feel like that. To make you feel unwanted or I'm just not present for you. And you could ask quality questions. Like, what causes you to think that? Like, what's the cause here? Why do you think this? What's going on that you assuming that I don't love you anymore, that I'm entertaining someone else? Because that's not what's going on. But tell me, help me understand. And this is where the listening comes in, right? Listen to understand. Not listen to disprove or listen to defend yourself or listen to disprove her points. Listen to understand. Empathetic listening. It's probably one of the most undervalued aspects of a relationship that people just don't talk about is empathetic listening, strategic listening. When you actually listening to understand what the other person is going through, empathetically. And to gain the understanding. Once you have an understanding, the next object is to see, is the clarity. Listen, understand, clarity. To gain clarity in the situation, help the other person understand clearly that this is not what it appears. Now, of course I love you. Why would you ask that? Like, what's going on? And you can explain what's going on, why things seem a little out of pocket and distant. Maybe you could even talk her through, like, baby, look, you're in another country. I know things don't look like they're going to work out right now, but they will. We just got to keep trying. Rarely do people get through their visas on the first time. And I know it's hard being apart. Believe me, I struggle with it a lot, and this is why I stay busy. It's no easier for me to be without you than it is for you to be without me. But, I know it's going to come together. I know we're going to be fine. And next is the action. This is where the conversation goes into, okay, here's what we'll do about that. From now on, we'll definitely have certain times of the day set aside to where, we get to talk to one another. If need be, I'll turn on my location so you can see where I'm at. Look, I don't think that's an unreasonable ask. So you would say, fuck that, I ain't sharing my location, I ain't got nothing. No, if you really love somebody and sharing your location with them while they're in another country, worried sick over the direction of the relationship, does not say anything about them not trusting you. That's not what that communicates. That's you saying, look, here's what I can do to help ease your anxiety and insecurity. Because a lot of times, this insecurity is just what? Anxiety. And it's some of the symptoms of an anxious attachment style, but not always. And you can still have healthy people that have a touch of an anxious attachment style, and that's okay. So you can point that out, and you can actually provide certain things, take some actions that can help alleviate the anxiety and the insecurity, to keep it at bay at the very least. Maybe make a plan to talk at a certain time every day, no matter what. Make time for FaceTiming, where you have a one-on-one, a face-to-face call every day, and you get to talk about each other's day. And long-distance relationships are hard. To me, they're impossible. But if it's a temporary situation where you know you're going to be coming together, There are things you can do in the interim to keep it where both people are, at very minimum, feel safe with the relationship in which way it's going. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So it could be something as simple as planning calls, having a FaceTime call, sharing a location, anything you can do. Maybe when she calls and you can't get to it, shoot a text. Look, it's not like she's at home 10 minutes away waiting on you, where she knows your schedule day in and day out. And it becomes a bit unnecessary for her to have to, chase you down like that every day and expect you to jump to when she calls and expects a response within a certain time. That's just overbearing. That's not insecurity. That's unhealthy. That goes along the realms of control issues. But in this case, I don't think that would be too much to ask. But the important things here is the Luca. Listen, understand, clarity, action. And to seek reassurance first, right? Not to seek, to offer reassurance first. I keep saying seek reassurance, and you're not seeking. Offer reassurance first. And let her know beyond a shadow of doubt that that's not the case. And I believe you. I believe you sound like a stand-up guy. You gave a great follow-up to you don't believe in giving up or cheating. And that's amazing. I love that. Now, you could go through the whole Luca, explain yourself, help understand her, listen to understand her, give her clarity on the situation, create a little plan of action, and if it persists and she keeps on, then at some point you need to draw the line and be able to say, look, this is not what I'm doing, this is not what I'm feeling, this is not what's going on, and you're starting to upset me. This is your thing. This is your insecurity, not mine. I'm not causing this. You're allowing this. And it's okay to take yourself out of that if it can potentially turn crazy and affect your well-being and her well-being, which it already has to a degree, but it could make it worse if you keep trying to appease it and she's just scraping and scratching for more and more and more. You can say, look, this is starting to upset me. Like, you're projecting this stuff onto me, and this is nothing that I'm doing. And I'm not going to tolerate that. So but that's usually when it's a higher, more deeper level of insecurity that has more to do with the other person than it does the situation. To me, personally, it sounds like she's just needs some reassurance, being that she is in another country. I mean, that doesn't make sense. It's not like you're at home living together and she gets anxious when you go to the gym and questions you when you walk in the door from being gone for 2 hours or going to eat with one of the guys or something, and she's got a million questions and texting you the whole time and calling, where are you, and wanting to smell all your clothes and shit when you get home. I actually think this is legit, but I have some questions about that. Clearly she loves you. Clearly she's invested in the relationship. And I don't think there's anything wrong with you taking the necessary steps to help reassure her that everything's fine, that you will be together, that you got it under control. It might take a little more work than you expected. Everything's going to work out just fine. In the meantime, let's follow this, A, B, C, D. So to at least hold us over until you're here in my arms and we're together every day. And we can live our amazing life together. And that's it. So I hope that helped, man. I hope that helped. If you would like something more in depth about, I'd need to know more about that situation. Overall, I think it's just a warranted display of insecurity because of the situation you're in, the distance and the time and the red tape having to go through to get together. I don't think there's anything too crazy about that. It can be taxing. It can be a bit of wear, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's a big deal. And I think really more what she's asking for is for you to reassure her than anything. And I don't think that's too much to ask, personally. Now, if it goes beyond that, you know, you could suggest that she get some help for that. Or definitely don't allow her to pin that on you as it's your responsibility, because it isn't. So, well, great. I hope that was helpful. Thank you, everybody. Would you please hit that like and subscribe, hit that notification bell for future videos, and also leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you have any more questions about it, or if you have something to add. I'm all ears. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.